Okay, last video. Appreciate you watching these. Hope it works for you. I think I kind of like this because you can always like rewind me if you need to, unlike class. I guess you can rewind me in class too. Did you know that? You can raise your hand. Okay, let's do this. We are on the last learning intention of the unit. This is the last new thing you're learning. Tomorrow I'll be back and we'll go over all this stuff really quickly. I'll give you some work time and I'll just run around and help you understand whatever you need to understand. So Monday we did standard form. Yesterday we did slope intercept form. Today we are doing word problems. So here's the success criteria. This is basically what this video is intended to see if you know how to do. Can you write a linear function when you're given a situation? And then can you use a linear function to answer questions about the situation? So, it's story time, children. Remember, you're going to get on your dot rug in kindergarten right now. We know that we learned on Monday that standard form looks like that, ax plus by equals c. Slope intercept form looks like y equals mx plus b. Now you need to be able to read a story and go, oh, that is a standard form type of story. Or I read a story and I realized it's a slope intercept form type of story. That's basically the gist of this video. So I want you to spot the patterns here. Here's two stories about fruit. On the left, in the bluish screen, it says I bought 3 apples and 4 bananas and spent $42. On the right-hand side, it says I have 3 apples and every day I buy 2 more. There is a difference between those two. One of those is slope intercept form, one of those is standard form. Two more situations. A hot dog costs $4 and a burger costs $5. You spent $100. I have eaten 30 hot dogs this month. Every day I eat 5 more. Patterns should be emerging. You should be looking at these two things and saying to yourself, why did Mr. C in France put these 2 stories here and put these 2 stories here? What are the similarities? What are the differences? And then finally, every Math 1 quiz I grade takes me 8 minutes. Every Math 3 quiz I grade takes me 13 minutes. I spent 728 minutes grading. Over here, I have 76 quizzes left to grade. Every hour, I get 7 more done. You should be thinking about the same patterns. All right, so what patterns do you notice that separate the problems on the left side from the problems in the pink on the right-hand side? Here's what you're going to do. You should have noticed that the problem on the left-hand side all ended up having 3 numbers in it. Now it's going to get a little more complicated than that, but for now, you've got 3, 4, and 42. You've got 4, 5, and 100. You've got 8, 13, and 728. So they have a similar structure. So we're going to end up using the structure that uses 3 different numbers in it, the A, the B, and the C. And so you have 3 apples plus 4 bananas equals $42. That is the type of prompt that forms a standard form type of equation. Okay, we've got 4 hot dogs, not 4 hot dogs, $4 hot dogs and $5 burgers, and the cost adds up to 100. So that's going to be 4H. I used H for hot dogs plus 5B. I used B for burgers equals 100. What this is going to give you is all of the different combinations of hot dogs and hamburgers that you could get to get $100. For example, you could buy no hot dogs and buy just burgers and figure out how many burgers to buy, or vice versa, or combinations of them. All right, every Math 1 quiz I grade takes me 8 minutes. Every trig quiz I grade takes me 13 minutes. So if I say M equals Math 1 quizzes and T equals trig quizzes, see if you could figure out what the standard form equation would be. Very good. 8 minutes for every Math 1 plus 13 minutes for every trig equals a total of 728 minutes. All right, conversely, I got to turn that in. Conversely, the problems that were on the pink side of it all look like this. Patterns you notice, they all have 2 numbers in them. They also are the ones that you're more familiar with from this year already because we've done these. These are the ones that have the starter and the changer. So this one starts at 3 apples and changes by 2. This one starts at 30 hot dogs and changes by 5. This one starts at 76 quizzes and changes by 7. Okay, and then all you have to think of, what's the starter, what's the changer, is it going up, going down, what's the input variable, what's the output variable. So in this one, we would say apples equals starting at 3 and increasing by 2 every day. You can choose to write those in a different order. This order makes, I think, more sense in the situation because it starts with the starter and then does the changer. But you're going to see this more often in like math classes and math books because this is y equals mx plus b. Okay. So look at this one. Starts at 30, changes by 5, and it's going up. No big whoop. That's 30 plus 5d, or 5d plus 30. This one starts at 76. It's not going up because my quizzes are going down. I'm getting fewer and fewer quizzes to grade every hour, right? And so that would be starting at 76 and going down by 7 every hour, or going down by 7 every hour with a starting value of 76. Okay, so turn and talk. Well, this is what I would have done if I was live in the classroom, but I'm not. Talk to yourself, or if you want to talk to a friend, it's fine. Explain to each other how you can tell the difference between these two stories. Or maybe I'll just make this a question in the end puzzle. All right, if you have two things that affect each other, you're going to use this. So like when I'm doing the apples and bananas, it's not like the apples affect the price or the bananas affect the price. The apples and bananas affect each other with a fixed price, right? So the more apples I buy, the fewer bananas I can buy because there's a fixed price, and vice versa. The more bananas I buy, the fewer apples I can buy. So if you have something like that, where you have two things that affect each other with a third fixed number, you're going to use standard form, ax plus by equals c. Every time you have something that is clearly the input and clearly the output, and there is like that cause-effect relationship, and there is a starter and a changer, I start with 3 apples and then I buy 2 more every time. That's going to be that sort of system. All right, so Mr. C quits teaching, open roadside stand selling math worksheets and calculators. He sells math worksheets for $2 and calculators for $50. He needs to make $200 a day to survive. W's the number of worksheets, C is the number of calculators. Write it. Standard form, boom, 2W plus 50C equals 200. Chris is buying hamburgers and bratwurst for a cookout. Hamburgers cost $4 each and brats cost $3 each. Brats. He has set $48 to spend. Again, you have two things that are impacting each other, right? The more hamburgers, the fewer brats, so we know it's standard form. 4H plus 3B equals 48. Les has $400 in his account. He spends $10 every day. This is not two things affecting each other. That is days affecting how much money he has. It's got a starting value, it's got a changing value, so we know that it should be y equals mx plus b. So it's m equals negative 10d plus 400. Again, when you're having these variables, it makes sense to not always just use x and y, to use variables that make sense in terms of the situation. Hot air balloon is 300 feet up and is rising by 40 feet per second. H is the height off the ground, T is the number of seconds. Again, that has a starter changer type of feel to it. So it should be y equals mx plus b, H equals 40t plus 300. Now, you could, again, let's do this one more time, have written H is equal to 300 plus 40t. That's perfectly acceptable. What you can't do is put the t on the 300. If you wrote H is equal to 40 plus 300t, you got a hot air balloon that's going up way faster. It's going up 300 feet per second or something like that, so you can't do that one. All right, let's get into the second half of it, and that's how we use those things to answer questions about a situation. So you've got your function right here, 2w plus 50c is equal to 200, and then I ask you a follow-up question about it. Now that you have the function, I could say, if he sells 3 calculators, how many worksheets does he need to sell? Well, you take the 3 and you plug it in. Should the 3 go here? Oh, it should go here because C stands for number of calculators, 3 calculators. So I have 2W plus 50 times 3 equals 200. That gives me 2W plus 150, because that's 50 times 3, is equal to 200. And now I'm in equation solving land. Minus 150, minus 150. I get 2w equals 50. Divide by 2, divide by 2. W equals 25. Uh-oh, it's a word problem. He can. Nope, let's answer it better. He needs to sell 25 worksheets. Think this is a good plan for me after teaching? Roadside stand selling math worksheets and calculators? I think that's a failed business model. All right, if the store is out of hamburgers, how many brats can you buy? This is one that gets people because they're like, Mr. C in France, you didn't give me a number, but I did. Out of hamburgers means I can buy 0 hamburgers, so I plug a 0 in there. So I get 4 times 0 plus 3b equals 48. That's 4 times 0 is 0, so I basically just have 3b equals 48. Divide by 3, divide by 3, b equals 16. And then we write a sentence. He can buy, oh man, handwriting's getting bad, 16 brats, whatever, bratwursts. Les has $40 in the account. He spends $10 every day. We've already done this. We're going to go fly through this because we already did this in a prior unit. How much money will he have in 5 days? You put the 5 in for the D right there. You get M is equal to negative 10 times 5 plus 400. M equals negative 50 plus 400. M equals 350. He will have $350 in 5 days. Period at the end of the sentence. Okay, last one. Hot air balloon is 300 feet up and rising by 40 feet per second. We know that's our function. How long will it take the balloon to be 500 feet up? You got to keep your brain on. I see so many people go like this, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to plug it right there. But that is not what that meant. It was 500 feet up. That wasn't 500 seconds, so it shouldn't have gone there. It should have gone, let's fix the arrow. It should have gone right in for the H, which means that now I'm going to get 500 equals 40t plus 300. Subtract 300 from both sides. I get 200 equals 40t. Divide by 40. Divide by 40. 200 divided by 40 is 5. Yes. 5 equals t. And so that is then it will take 5 seconds. Boom. Period. End of the sentence. All right. You can rewind. You can do whatever you need to do. Here's the review of what you need to be working on. Standard form worksheet from Monday. Slope intercept worksheet from yesterday. You get going on pages 6 through 10 of your unit outline today. The answers will, when you come in here, be right. Let me get over here a second. Show you. The answers will be right there on the wall, like they always are. They're not there yet. They'll also be on the website. These slides will be on the website, right? So you can always go back and reaccess them. Please make sure you're doing your very best on these days. I will see you tomorrow, assuming that my airplane takes off on time and I get here. All right. Thanks. See you tomorrow.